Well, you may have heard of the saying, eat your vegetables. Well, how about eat your frogs? Now, apparently the French eat frog legs. In fact, they ate 80 million pairs of frog legs last year. But I'm not talking about frog legs. I'm talking about eating your whole frog. So today we explore this saying and why it applies to almost every porn struggler I have ever worked with. Welcome aboard.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, at the time of this recording, it is mid-August 2024, and we are starting to get ready for the coming fall. I know some of you I've been talking to, school has already started, and for us, we don't start till September up here in Canada, but everyone is, beginning to get into that fall mode. Summer is almost over. I know we're trying to squeeze the last of the heat out of summer. But every fall, I think most of us begin to go, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and look ahead at the coming fall season. I know churches work that way. Obviously, schools work that way. And I think it's a great time for us to say, okay, what do I want out of these next number of months? It's one of the reasons why we usually start brand new groups each fall. And we will once again be starting our groups of 5 to 7 guys. We will be working through the Finding Traction course together. So if you are at all interested, I've talked to guys that said, you know what, I really wanted to do this a year or two ago, but for some reason I didn't pull the trigger. Well, now is a great time to pull the trigger. So if you are looking for a group, you're not in a group, you can email me at bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. Also, I have a number of Finding Traction listeners who want to just connect with me on a monthly basis. And what we do on the last Sunday night of every month at 6 o'clock Pacific time, I do a Zoom call for all of the Finding Traction listeners who want to become part of just a community that connects once a month. And so we're collecting guys. It's going to end up being obviously a bit of a larger group. It's not a recovery group per se, but it's just a chance to find some encouragement, maybe ask some questions. So if you're interested in that, once again, send me an email, but just put the word community in the attention line, and I'll send you information on how to become part of our Finding Traction community. All right. Well, let's talk about this whole idea of eating your frogs. Now, when I talk about that, what I'm really talking about is the word procrastination. They say frogs, procrastination. I don't get it. I'll build a bridge. Don't worry here. So the idea is on procrastination, I would say a large percentage of the guys that I work with who struggle with things like porn also struggle with procrastination. Procrastination, the putting off of arduous or unpleasant tasks. It's just so natural for us to do that. It seems like every day I have one or two things that I don't want to do. Yesterday, I had these set of questions I had to prepare for a group that I was leading. It would require me to listen to a podcast and then prepare some engaging questions. The problem was I really didn't want to do it. It just was some work, and I would prefer to do other things, other easier things. A couple days ago, I had to call my internet provider and figure out why they had double billed me for an internet service I had. I knew it would take time on the phone. I would probably get frustrated with them. You know, you have all of these press this number, and you just have to keep asking to speak to an agent over and over and over again until you can speak to a live agent. And it always leaves me frustrated. And as a result, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to put it off. We all have stuff like this all the time, every week. You probably have a list of things that would fit in this category. Things that are unpleasant, things you really don't want to do, and you have a list of things that would go into your procrastination bucket. People procrastinate on, for example, having difficult conversations. You know, the ones that need to be had, but are probably going to result in unpleasant emotions, or, they could spin off in a direction you don't want them to go. And as a result, guess what? You put them off. I've had a lot of guys that I work with on recovery. They procrastinate on creating safe technology or putting on a content filter like a Covenantize, for example. Why? Because they really don't want to do it, or it will take some work, or it will cost some money. And so they spend time procrastinating. So why is it that so many of us who struggle and have struggled with porn also struggle with procrastination? I mean, all of us hate unpleasant feelings, right? All of us have things that we'd prefer not to talk about or things that we'd prefer not to do, especially if they're uncomfortable or they could stir up conflict, pain, or just discomfort. They're hard to do. And I would say this, if you are a struggler with things like porn, you have probably learned to use porn to avoid doing things or feeling things that you don't want to do or you don't want to feel. I mean, the classic procrastination line is this: why do today? You go ahead and finish it. Why do today what you can put off till tomorrow, right? Right, that's it. And the simple reality is that a lot of guys that, look at porn on a regular basis, they have learned to use porn to stuff down or escape negative feelings, or just simply to put off doing stuff they would rather not do. You see, porn is all about disengagement. And the action of disengagement from whatever we need to attend to is really simply just what? Procrastination. To quote Monty Python and the Holy Grail, brave Sir Robin ran away. Or at least he put off the fight for another day. Okay, so where do frogs come in, you're wondering? Well, one of the fun things of my groups is we often get guys from different countries around the world in the same group, and we have some fun international jockeying and kibbutzing sometimes. So we were talking about this, and one of the Scottish guys in my group said, well, it's like the Americans saying, eat your frogs. And all my Americans in the group looked at him, funny on Zoom and go, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as a saying, eat your frogs. And, never argue with a Scottish guy because he's probably going to be right. And so I looked it up, and my Scottish guy was right about the Americans. It is based something from Americans. And because the guy who made that quote was the American author and playwright Mark Twain. And Mark Twain said this: if it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Right? So, he was right. It's based on an American saying. And here's the point. The point is, if there's something you don't want to do or eat, it stays with you. It rents space free in your mind over and over and over again throughout the day. And you have to keep pushing it away. But if you do it first, it's over and done with. I mean, it has to be done eventually, right? It could be like my 2 small examples, preparing those questions, calling up that tech support line, right? It could be a larger thing. Think of all the guys that are putting off, now this is an older example for you older guys, that prostate checkup. You know, beware of doctors with white gloves. You know, at a easier example, think of that cavity you need filled. I mean, after all, who likes needles or drills? So eating that frog first thing in the morning is, I get it done with right away, and it doesn't sit there. In fact, what I can do is then I can go attaboy, and I can build on the successes of pushing through and doing the unpleasant thing first. If it's 2 frogs, you eat the big one first, you get it out of the way. Here's the point. The point is you are proactive, not reactive. Oftentimes, the little things that you push off, you know, like getting your oil changed, as an example, if you leave it, it becomes a bigger thing later on. If you don't get your teeth cleaned on a regular basis, that can turn into what? A cavity. If you don't get your cavities filled, that can turn into an abscess, right? All of those things, but not in the short term. You just push it off. So I think most of us have probably learned, if you look at your life, you can probably examine some place in your life where you have developed the habit of procrastination. Perhaps your porn activities have facilitated that and made that habit worse in your life. If there is one area in my life that I have worked super hard to overcome, is this propensity to procrastinate. I now try hard each day to ask myself this: what is the thing I need to do but don't want to do today? I'm going to run at that thing and get that thing done first. I mean, that's on a daily basis. It could be a weekly thing. What is the things that I need to have done this week that I could put off, but I'm going to get those things done first? I'm going to schedule those things instead of just keep pushing it off throughout the week and then hit the weekend and go, well, maybe I'll get it done next week. You see, the thing is, when I do that unpleasant thing first, it feels good. It's out of the way. It's not renting space in my mind anymore. I now can get on to the things I want to do, not that I have to do. So there you go. Eat your frogs. Maybe the next time I'm in France, I will try frog legs. I mean, 80 million frog legs, well, which is actually 40 million frogs when you do the math. I mean, people maybe can't be wrong on that one, or can they? You know, maybe those of us who've never tried frog legs are missing out on a good thing. We'll see you next time.